guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with Anna today and we're doing a little Q&A, how it is like to be an adult when you go back to school. Because both of us, we had a life before and we stopped it to come here to Barcelona to go back to school. So tell us a little bit about how you started tap dance.
Well, I actually started by an accident because we had it at school. So when I first met tap dance, it was like more like a musical kind of stuff. I didn't really like it, but then I was like, yeah, well, and then we had classes, and I was the only one who actually could do something. So the guy was like, do you want to like start dancing? I was like, I don't have time for that, right? I was 18 years old, I was studying, I had a lot of stuff going on, and I was like, no, I don't know if I have time. And then I tried, and then everything came together, and I was like dancing Lindy Hop and started to do tap, and everything was like, yeah, my social life got like total like excitement and everything went amazing. And then the Lindy Hop era kind of faded, and then the tap kind of stayed in my life, and I was like working on it and progress, and then I started to teach, and that's when I kind of stopped learning because I was more focused about teaching and not learning. So yeah, that's kind of the history of me tap dancing.
Okay, so were you in university or were you still in high school?
No, it was high school actually, because we do high school till like 19, but I was 1 year delayed, so I was 18, but I was in my third year. So yeah.
Okay. Alright, so for me, I started tap dancing when I was 26, and it was also an accident because the flatmate that moved in was teaching tap lessons. So, and then the first year I didn't really take it seriously. I just went every so often because the flatmate was teaching it, so you know. And then when I was actually here at Tap on Barcelona, and Ivan was teaching improvisation. And I was always really scared of improvisation, which is crazy because now all I do is improvise. Like, I was so scared to the point that one time I was at the Stockholm Tap Festival in a cypher, and we were supposed to improvise, and I took one step and I heard my sound and I ran out and threw up.
Oh.
So I had really big mental blockage of improvisation back then. But then there was Ivan, and it was the year Ludo died. And I was like, okay, Ivan was teaching, even though this like tap dancer that was really famous in the Barcelona tap community and was, you know, connected everyone, everybody knew him. And he died during that week of the festival, and Ivan was still teaching the day after he died. And he's like, okay, you have to improvise now. And I was like, okay, the last thing this person needs is a student that refuses to improvise. So I was just like, I don't care, I just don't want to make him like more sad. So I was like jumping up and down and like whatever, you know, but then for 1 second I felt no fear. And I kind of tasted blood. So this like 1 second without fear was like, I have to become an improviser. That led to me then start slowly busking, because I have really bad stage fright. Which I have under control, but it took years to get under control.
I can relate.
Yeah. So I started busking. That's actually my first experience with improvisation, was just busking. Because it was like, okay, at least the people only look at you 10 seconds at a time while they go past you.
Exactly, yeah.
And then I started going to jam sessions. I went to the London Tap Jam, but early on I already went to jam sessions with like jazz jam sessions. And then I started being like, no, I really want to learn this music. I started piano lessons and I really started studying the music. And I stopped the whole tap dance side of things. I kind of went to workshops of teachers that I selected, that I really wanted to study, but I didn't take class regularly at all. Like maybe only the first year that I was regular. And then I went to see a gig. It was my first free jazz avant-garde kind of style gig that I've seen. So I'm like, and my piano teacher played in the band, so it was Robert Mitchell on piano, Cleveland Watkins was performing, I think it was Jason Yard on saxophone, and Mark Sanders on drums. Completely improvised gig, and there was one moment where everybody was going crazy. It was really, really noisy. And my piano teacher, Robert Mitchell, he was just sitting there, and you saw that he kind of took in all the information that was coming, but he didn't do anything. And like his hands sometimes moved towards the keyboard, and I was like, when is he gonna play? When is he gonna play? You know, like I'm like sitting there, what is he gonna do? So then there was like a moment of silence, and he reaches inside the piano and goes like, bing. And that was the most genius thing. I still remember it in kind of like as if it was yesterday. And I was so hyped on it. So that kind of started me into avant-garde. But then also Cleveland, who I've never met before. I'm like still in the audience and minding my own business. And I had to wait for my piano teacher because I by accident stole some sheet music that was his sheet music. So on the lesson, you know, I just took all the sheet music and included his. So I was waiting around, so just minding my own business, and Cleveland turns around, looks at me, sitting there in the audience, walks up to me, and he's like, what instrument do you play? And I was like, you don't know me. And he's like, I know, that's why I'm asking, what instrument do you play?
Oh my, I would fell down like...
And I'm like, I'm a tap dancer. And he's like, perfect.
Oh god.
Like, he's like, you should come next week on Monday to my jam session. It's a free, it's avant-garde. So I was like, oh yeah, sure. So I showed up at the jam session. Never, you know, spent like 10 minutes. We talked a little bit after, like 10 minutes talking to this guy with my little tab board, and they paired me up with Mark Mondesier. So I did a duo with one of the most well-known drummers in Europe, and that was it. Since then, I'm like, okay, I'm done with everything else. I'm gonna just improvise. Like that's gonna be what I do. And I did that for a long time. But then during COVID, I was struggling. Like I didn't feel fresh. I didn't feel like excited. I spent the whole lockdown practicing on my little board with my arms down like this because I had no space and trying to be quiet for the neighbors and stuff. And I was like, okay, I have to just get myself out of this mental and also physical like restricted space that I had kind of accustomed to be in. And I had a few gigs like between the end of the lockdown and before I came here, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same hunger. It wasn't the same like you know. So I was like, okay, I just have to start. I need a break from London for a while, and I need to just train for a while and focus on myself. So I came here.
Yeah. So my reason why I came actually here was COVID, of course, because you are established somewhere, you're doing something. I was a teacher, I was doing stuff, and you're building your name, so it's not like in your mind that you might maybe quit that and leave. But then COVID happens, you know, and then you're home, and then you're maybe teaching online a little bit, and then you're like, oh, maybe I could maybe start doing something. So I started to take online classes like for myself. I was just starting to learning again. And then I was like learning and doing something and practicing a little bit. And then the guy was like, he was here like 4 years ago, and he was like, maybe you should try the routine. I was like, what Barcelona? I was like, it's impossible like for me. Like it was totally unimaginable in my head to just like leave everything and just like come here. I was like, what? No. And then I kind of was processing it for like 2 or 3 months, and then I was like, yeah, maybe I might kind of like do it, right? And then I've read through the stuff that you have to do to, you know, become a discipline, right? So I was like slowly like reading through it and like making myself sure that I actually might do it, and like who will actually miss me? And then I don't mean it in a bad way, but like I'm not gonna lose my name from the city where I am, because I'm from Prague, just because I live for stupid 9 months. It's just 9 months. Like it's no big deal. Like right now we're in a half. Like we're behind the half of the stuff, and like you're like, what the heck? Like where did the time go? So I actually bet that once I start teaching again back, or like appear somewhere, they're gonna be like, so when are you leaving? And I'm gonna be like, I just came, because like it's just 9 months. So you're not gonna lose anything. Like it's just, it can just give you, and that's it. So that's why I was like, we don't know what COVID will look like in a year or two. So like that's the best chance for me to do it. So I did, and
So that is actually a good point, because I think just as Anna was worried that I think everybody has a little bit of FOMO. If you leave one place, that something you can pick up at the place when you return, kind of. So I handled it a little bit different. For me it was, I looked at it as, okay, if you go on tour for 6 months, it's the same. Or if you're injured, it's the same. So I've had experience, because I had like an injury once that took over a year to heal. I had a back injury. So I was like, okay, I recovered from that, like this. But like for me, it was really hard. I feel like mentally I never left London, because first I had to fly back 4 times for gigs that were already there. And I'm really involved with things that are still happening there. So I was here, but I had kind of this double life, because I was always on a Zoom meeting with someone in London, at least once or twice a week. Then I still did my podcast. I flew back a few times. And now, because I wanted to stay, initially I wanted to stay for 3 months, and then I turned it into 6 months, because it was like, yeah, the first quarter in London is not as busy. So I was like, I might just as well stay here. So, yeah, but like now, these 3 months, I'm kind of already preparing to be back. So I'm contacting promoters. I'm involved with this festival that we're performing in June. But like that's kind of a thing if you create your own gigs that aren't regular, because I never had like a regular teaching job. I had, gig after gig after gig, but often you need to plan 6 months to up to a year sometimes ahead. So I feel like the first 3 months of the program, I was still flying back all the time, because I still had commitments. And that actually is a bad idea. So if somebody's thinking of doing that, you can do it, but it's very exhausting, because it's still my only day off. And in the last 3 months now, which is my last 3 months, because I'm leaving after this trimester, I'm every day till 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm talking to people on email and writing applications and that kind of stuff. So there's like 2 things to handle. Both are possible.
Yeah.
But I think some people haven't noticed that I've left yet. They still ask me if I can do a gig like next week.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like for me, I really did like the goodbye party, and I really packed all of my stuff, and I really moved here, and I really not disconnected. Of course, I'm in contact with people, but I really disconnected from the place, because I was just leaving for a year, even though it's only 9 months. That was just it. So I think it's a bit like I didn't even thought about that maybe I might like coming back regularly. Like that was not even an option in my head, kind of. So I was really surprised. Like, yeah, she's coming back to London like every week. What? So there was like, oh what? So like it's an option, definitely an option if you feel like it or but for example for me it was not an option. It was not even it has not even appeared in my head before. So yeah, I'm actually really like living here. I find a job right now, so I'm really like living in Barcelona full time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What did you do with how did you kind of move your stuff? How did you deal with an apartment back in Prague, and what did you do to find an apartment here?
Well, for me it was kind of easy in this way, because I had a boyfriend back then, so we were living together, so I didn't have to deal with the apartment, because he's still living there. And actually we took the first week before the classes started as a vacation together. Okay. So he kind of went just with a backpack, and he had my luggage and I had my own luggage. Yeah, so we kind of helped with the moving stuff with me. So he actually took all of the stuff with me. And then how I found the apartment, it was just online. You just do Barcelona, long term online flat. Like you just book it. And you see which platform you like the most, and then you see which flat you like the most, and you search for a little bit like regular renting.
Yeah. So I think the thing in Spain is you can rent through like agencies and private landlords, but if you want to have an official flat, I think you need your NIE number.
Really?
Right. I think so.
Well, nobody asked for mine.
Yeah, because if it's like, I don't know, I think there's 2 ways to do it. But yeah, so for me, my contract had ended anyway of my apartment in London, so I would have left. I just asked if I can stay till the end of August, because that was suitable for me, and they agreed. So like there was no drama. But if that wouldn't have happened, I would have just cancelled it because. Yeah, London is expensive to be away.
Well, I have to say that Barcelona is expensive to live by yourself in a flat in the center. No, don't do that, please.
Do it. No. It depends where you come from though, because like I think, for example, I'm from London. I lived in London before. I think Barcelona is cheap. She lived in Prague. She thinks it's expensive. We have a girl from Brazil here. For her, it's expensive. We have a girl from Switzerland. It's like everything's so cheap.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of. But that's a research you can do way before you come.
Exactly.
So you can just see, Google things and you see what the prices are. Barcelona is not that big, so even if you live a little bit further out, you can take the train, like the metro
Train
for like
or
half an
metro,
hour.
yeah,
So
it's
it's
very
not
cheap,
as
yeah.
big as some other places. Yeah. So yeah, I quit and I shipped all my stuff to Europe, which was really expensive because Brexit. So I shipped everything to my parents.
Why did that happen? Well.
Yeah, it's another story.
Yeah.
So there's a drama that is for a different video probably of shipping things to Europe during Brexit. And yeah, and then because I only intended to stay 3 months, I just got an Airbnb, like an Airbnb long-term rental, because you can choose long-term rentals. And I found a really cool place. We actually live really close together.
Yeah.
Like she lives on one side of Raval and I live on the other side of
Yes.
Raval. So I think we probably live less than 10 minutes apart.
I think less, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like that.
So, and the whole building is like it's an agency that just rents out the building to master students or internship students and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it wasn't difficult for me to find it either.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
I noticed though, it's good to find things sooner rather than later, because I can never commit. So I just, I just start searching and then I'm like, maybe not, maybe not. And then I was like, oh shit, the cheap places are all gone now. So it's good to be a little bit more organized. I'm just not the organized type.
For me, I was just actually going through the pages, and the page that was the most easiest to work with, I kind of searched.
Okay.
So then I just like clicked whatever I wanted to, and then that flat appeared, and I was like, that's the cheapest flat. It's in the center. Like, it won't come any cheaper than this, obviously. So let's do it. And I'm actually very satisfied. The flat is amazing, and I've got like, it's like one huge room but separated kind of way, and like it works. And even for 2 people, it would work. So it's amazing.
Yeah, I think my bed wouldn't work for 2 people. It's a bit tragic, but I think it would work.
Okay. But actually, I have to say that I was worried that as I'm coming here, at the moment I'm 28, I was 27 once I was coming here. I really thought I'm gonna be the oldest, because the teacher that was here 4 years ago, he actually was here when he was 16. Now he's 20. So, and he was teaching me because, like, obviously he's amazing tap dance and everything. So I was like, oh my god, I'm 27, like that's gonna be like the bunch of 18-year-old, like, and what am I gonna do there? And then thank God, it's not like that, like definitely not. And also if you choose to get some other classes, like an extra classes which are not covered in this program, and there are like regular people like from all range of age, like all of them.
Yeah.
So like you really you cannot be worried about the age, because age doesn't matter,
Yeah. I think the reason I really wanted to do this video with Anna is because we have this like group of younger people who this situation is different for them because they've just finished high school and they're taking this as a gap year. So for them it's like they finished one chapter of their life, then this is like a natural kind of thing. Whereas for us, you have to make a decision to end a chapter in your life, or like at least pause it.
Yeah.
So did you come here with the mindset of I know what I want to do after I leave, like I want to use this for something particular afterwards, or did you just were you just thinking, oh, I'm just gonna come here and then see what I do next?
No, actually, I kind of planned all of this, not like planned like for a minute or days. I actually, I had a vision, because for me, I'm also a barista. I work in a coffee shop, and I always wanted to open my own. But my life is so divided into three pieces, like singing, dancing, and coffee shop, that I usually take a year, for example, right now, and I focus on the one thing. So last year it was like singing, and this year it's like tap dancing, and before it was like more the coffee. I got a lot of courses and everything. So for me to have a place where I can like fuse all of those things together is something that would make my heart and mind very happy, because I can like put everything together and not be like separated in my three skills I want to, develop or whatever. So that's kind of the thing I want to do. And as actually I met you, I always wanted to do that exactly, like go outside with my board, like and like just dance outside. But I never had the balls to do it, because that's the only way you actually can make yourself feel better about improvisation and like being seen. And as you did like this, I was like, yeah, okay, so tap jams in Prague are like on a very low, terrible level. We actually don't have almost any, which is very sad. So I was like, okay, so every Friday you're just gonna be there outside. You're gonna let the people know that you're there. If they're coming, sure. If they're not coming, whatever, you're gonna be there by yourself. So I'm gonna improve myself. I'm gonna take the people who doesn't know anything about tap, about like, let the tap be visible, and also people can join me from the community. So actually my goal now is to really like do a tap jam in Prague.
In your own coffee shop.
Oh, that's gonna come later. Okay, once I have a coffee shop, it's gonna be my coffee shop. But at the moment, it's gonna be like outside, because I still don't have any, right? But yeah, like to have that every week, it is happening. And if you're gonna miss 1 week, it's okay, because you can come to the next. It's alright. But it is happening, no matter what. No stops. No nothing. So that's something. That's a goal of mine that I kind of wanted to do. Yeah. And also my mindset is sometimes a bit broken, so that was something I just needed a break of like everything in my life happening. It was like too much, and I was in like a circle, like, and it was always like crazy. So I actually came back to like, to find myself, to learn about myself, to study what I actually do. Like for example, I cry every week, only in the classes, which is like the worst thing, and I don't want to. But it's just happening. But it's something that actually makes me feel that first I'm alive, and second, I'm learning. I'm learning about myself, like what makes it happen and why can I stop it, and so on. So I think that's something that's for me very difficult and very, very amazing to do here. So it's like a time for myself.
Yeah. Yeah, for me it was I never really stopped. So like I never really stopped kind of with the trajectory of what I was doing in London. Like I feel like I'm now going back and doing the same thing I left off. So, and that was always the plan. Like for me, I really wanted to just get some training in and just get a break from London and focus on myself.
But actually, once I come back, to open a coffee shop, it takes a little bit of time. It takes some money and so on. So like at the beginning, I'm gonna come back to what I've done actually. But I really want to, and I have this video as a proof, right? That I really want to open the coffee shop. I really want to put it all together, to fuse it, to build something on my own, and not to be just like a servant of anybody else, and being like in that kind of one huge role of my life, like from 8 till 10, like every day. No, I don't want that.
It's cool because one of my friends actually, Fausta Jolie, who was on the podcast, she wants to have her own poetry venue. She's a poet, and she's now taking over a jazz club in London because they're closing through August. So she's using it in August for her poetry. So she's actually got a venue for like 1 month just as a trial run. Wow,
that's amazing. Yeah. Oh my, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. So as you see, we are old people. No, but like the thing is, not everybody starts tap dancing at a young age.
Yeah.
That's why you can't see it as an age thing.
Yes,
you have to see it kind of as an ability thing. So if you kind of want to further your craft, you're gonna have to take class. And if you're older and you want to further your craft, you have to take class. And sometimes there will be younger people. But I think it was actually a really good dynamic because we had, I think it was like almost half with the ages. 'Cause
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
there's like half of the group was kind of like adults, and half of the group was just out of high school.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I feel like the kids out of high school, they still don't have this baggage you have
No,
after
exactly.
several years of struggling. So I actually found it very refreshing to be in a group because they're still excited about things that I'm already burned out on. So I feel like it gave me some excitement back in my life that I lost like in 12 years of struggle.
Exactly, and you can actually relive your own stuff. For example, you know, I hang out with an 18-year-old too, and she just moved from their like her parents to live in Barcelona on her own. So for her, it's like a huge step, and I can relive it because I've done that too, of course, but 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's a bit empowering, and then if you can connect with these people, you don't feel that old because usually, you know, you connect with your age. Well, not usually, but you connect with your age, and then you feel like you're really old. And then if you see that you can connect with 18-year-olds and you can like really have a real conversation with them, and it's just like, hi, how are you doing? It's very good for your mental health also.
Yeah, luckily my age group that I hang out with in London is very wide. I think it's between 20 and 80.
My first teacher, and actually the person who owns the tap studio, like the tap dance and the Lily Up studio, I don't know how old is he now, around 70. Around 70 definitely. I hope he won't see that video because I should know, but I don't, sorry. And he's like the most fit person in that studio. Like he can do the most push-ups in the group. He's still having classes, he's still teaching classes. And like, it's like, so like, yeah, there is also a living proof that you can do it in any age you want. And exactly the range that I speak is, thank God.
Alright, so guys, if you think about going back to school for any reason, at any age, doesn't matter, do it.
Yeah.
Because you only do it for yourself. You don't need to worry about the next person because they don't live your life.
Exactly. You don't have to worry about losing your status or your job or whatever, because you're always gonna have chances, and the only thing you can get is like development and improvement, because that's the only thing you are here for. So why are you worried?
Yeah. Bye.